Call to order. Good evening, Washington Township. I'd like to call this meeting of the Board of Education to order. Statement of meeting notice. Adequate notice of this meeting was given to the public 48 hours in advance of the date, setting forth the date, time, location, and type of meeting. Notice was sent to the Daily Record, the Observer Tribune, and the Washington Township Clerk, and was posted on the district website at www.wtschools.org. All please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. So I'd just like to open up the meeting reiterating what I mentioned last month at last month's board meeting regarding the 26-27 budget, which was in the preliminary presentation. This year's budget for a district like ours in the state of New Jersey is not an easy feat. Looking around other neighboring districts, many which have had very steep cuts, I just want to acknowledge all the hard work that went into this year's budget planning. And not only this year, I believe senior leadership, principals, teachers, and all who have been involved and collaborating over the last few years with the board involvement really positioned us well as it can be expected. And given the state funding cuts coinciding with all of the inflationary pressures, I just want to acknowledge all the hard work involved. Also, I believe it was last May, after school let out, was our last meeting here at the Long Valley Performing Arts Center. We've been at Cuccinella since then. So I just wanted to highlight some of the updates to the Long Valley Performing Arts Center. The comprehensive upgrade to the Performing Arts Center at Long Valley Middle School, this was a referendum-funded project that was designed to modernize outdated systems, improve functionality, expand opportunities for both students and the community. We also installed a fully integrated system that includes new theatrical lighting, sound, projection, and live streaming capabilities. These upgrades significantly enhance the quality of performances, assemblies, and instructional use, while also allowing us to broadcast events to families. In addition to the technology improvements, we made several facility upgrades to improve the overall space. The auditorium was fully painted, the soundproofing panels were installed, and automatic window shades were added. We also refurbished portions of the stage, including new stage doors, cleaned and repaired the stage curtains, and installed new carpeting. To further advance the space, we created a theater-style entrance with double doors, added HVAC for improved climate control, and updated the classroom adjacent to the Performing Arts Center. One item that will need to be revisited is a section of the ceiling paint where some cracking has occurred. This will be addressed once school is out for the year. We look forward to seeing the new space utilized for the LVMS musical starting on May 1st and 2nd and future district events. And lastly, I just wanted to have a special thanks to Jill Carkiddo and the LVMS Cooking Club. They were generous enough to provide us with some treats over there. There's some taco cups, meatball, bubble up, apple crisp, and this was all done in the new culinary room that was completed towards the beginning of this year. So thank you. And that does it for my comments.
Okay, thank you. I'm now going to be reporting in accordance with New Jersey's Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights Act, the results of HIB-related investigations as conducted by designated school personnel that will be reported to the Board of Education no later than the date of the regularly scheduled Board of Education meeting following the completion of an investigation. And so for this period reporting, our district totals were 3 unfounded and 0 founded. Breaking it down by school, Benedict A. Cuccinella School had 0, Flocktown Cosman School had 0, Old Farmers Road School had 0, and Long Valley Middle School had 3. Of the 3 that Long Valley Middle School did have, 3 were unfounded. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. So we have a few presentations tonight. The first one we're just going to go through is regarding student recognitions. So I'll get some help from Superintendent Lind here, yes. But I don't know, should we just
go around.
Call them all out? Or?
Yeah, we could, so that whoever's here, and then we'll provide it.
Okay, so I'll read off all the accomplishments, and I know there's some students here, so they can come up maybe after we're all done, where I can give them the placard. So the first section tonight is Morris Area Honor Choir. So this recognizes Penelope Draghi, begin recognizing Penelope Draghi is the New Jersey Regional Choir.
So Penelope, come on up, receive your award.
So we'll do this one first. Okay, and this block is for the NJ Destination Imagination State Tournament, which achieved first place. The first recognition goes to Mrs. Brown. Asira Brown. Kieran Collins. Christopher DeSico. McKenna Drury. Kaitra Van Muri. Ari Wald. And Iris Zhu. Anybody who's here that I just named, you're welcome to come up to receive recognition. And then we have one more for the NJ Destination Imagination Student Tournament Da Vinci Award for Creativity. I think there's going to be a lot of the same names here, so I apologize. First, we recognize Mrs. Brown. Asira Brown. Kieran Collins. Christopher DeSico. McKenna Drury. Kaitra Van Muri. Ari Wald. And Iris Zhu. Thanks, everybody. Next on the agenda, we have the 2026 to 2027 budget presentation.
Do you want to present from over here or over there? Do you want to be over there or over here? Okay. Yeah. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Tonight, we're presenting the Washington Township Schools proposed 26-27 budget. This budget reflects our continued commitment to academic excellence, fiscal responsibility, and supporting the needs of all students.
Want to announce, presenting with us this evening as well is Ms. Katie DeRizo. She's our business administrator. She's right here next to me. Ms. Deborah Russo, she's the director of curriculum and instruction. Dr. Denise Scarpin is the director of special education and related services. And Dr. Carolee Gately is our technology coordinator.
So this slide outlines the timeline used to develop this year's budget. The process began really in early October to start developing the budget, and then in March with the governor's state budget address, followed by the release of state aid figures from the Department of Education. The Board of Education adopted the tentative budget in late March, and then it was submitted for county review, and tonight we present the county-approved 26-27 budget to the community and the Board of Education.
Apologize, I usually just speak loudly. Reviewing our budget investments with our evolving English language arts program, the arts and letters, and our phonics program for foundations K-1. We're adding foundations and some selections of arts and letters for grade 2. Coaching and professional development as well for foundations for K-2. Advancing STEAM, so we have continued professional development for Eureka Math Squared for grades K-5. Curriculum writing and program development for New Jersey Student Learning Standards in the areas of STEAM, ELA, Visual and Performing Arts, and World Language K-8. New World Language program for grades K-8. Growing supports for special education programs within our district. Supporting and enhancing the use of technology. Here adding a half or 0.5 technology technician position, and focusing on necessary technology upgrades, new Chromebooks for grade 5, and then strengthening our district security as a constant priority. We're hoping for the 2 SROs and 2 Class 3s, which will bring us to full coverage across the district. And so we really are very thankful for the police department really here with their collaboration and help, and our security upgrades and capital improvements.
While we're focused on growth and improvement, we are also facing significant financial challenges along with other districts in the county and the state. The district is limited to a 2% increase in the tax levy while our expenses are rising at a much higher rate. Salaries are increasing by approximately 3.4%, and health benefits are projected to rise by about 20%, including a significant increase in prescription costs. When combined, these increases exceed the additional revenue generated by the tax levy, requiring us to make difficult and thoughtful decisions together with the leadership team in order to balance the budget. Other challenges include priorities supporting new curriculum programs, special education costs, facility costs, and safety and security costs.
When it comes to budget planning, restructuring staff positions to advance internal talent and professional growth is priority, maximizing the district-wide scheduling and upholding a commitment to fiscal responsibility. Ongoing personnel review, which includes then staffing, will be based on further analysis of our projected enrollment, our district needs, supports, and district academic program. We are planning to not fill 3 full-time equivalent positions due to retirements, and there are planned reduction in force for the equivalent of 5 full-time equivalent positions, including certificated and non-certificated staff. So at this time, I really wanted to ensure that I review our district goals during this particular presentation as well. It's our driving force when we're planning for budget, and it's also our core and our compass, where we're really providing a overall highlight and overall description of where we've come together as a team, including our leadership team, our teachers, our support staff, and what our dedication and our investment is to our students and our families and the community in order to ensure that our students are happy, that they're safe, and they have the right skill set for their grade promotions and on to the next and bigger and better into high school, and that they really feel comfortable and they have the grit to do so. So our first district goal is very heavily embedded in data, so it's data-informed instruction. It's use classroom-level data to inform instructional planning, identify learning gaps, and implement targeted interventions that meet diverse student needs with clear learning progressions. Our action plans are very much, I won't read everything bullet by bullet point to be respectful of everyone's time, but all of our actions are really embedded in just that, right? So establishing and improving how we're looking at our data, what it serves as far as our instructional purposes and what our kids need, meeting the needs of the kids where they are, and providing opportunities for teacher leaders is really at the core of what we want to provide here in Long Valley. So these are the highlights that are kind of driven from that particular goal. Teachers are crafting student-centered, high-quality instruction using a range of curriculum programs and performance-based assessments. I think most importantly, and a lot of the important work is done in my next bullet point, where the teachers are truly engaging in vertical and horizontal articulation with internal and external coaching opportunities. But what I've sensed and what I've seen across the district of what their talents and their pedagogy does for each other outside of like the external PD is incredible, and it really needs to be highlighted and celebrated because it's what really gets them going, it's what gets them excited, and it's really what promotes their craft. The leadership team is collaborating to support the teachers. There's really never a conversation that we have with the leadership team that is not promoting of what their teachers have going on inside their building, their support staff. They're always highlighting them. They're actively listening to their needs, and they're really cheerleading behind them. And I think that that's very important because not only do the teachers feel supported, but they also feel like they're seen and heard and celebrated for what the work that they do with our children. This year marks an exciting milestone as we celebrate the success of Foundations. I specifically kind of wanted to hone in on Foundations because the feedback, again, really transparently and honestly from the teachers has been just outstanding. So they're excited to see that progress and move forward as well. This is an example of Grade 2 Mathematics Equip. And the reason why I put this up here is really just to kind of emphasize on this goal is very much data-driven. So this particularly is what some of the teachers will take a look at and really focus on as far as standards and where the children and what the children will need to be successful. So it really just unpacks some of those discussions that the teachers have around specific standards in mathematics, and then they can plan accordingly around that. So if they know that there's a standard that they really need to target for the kids, they can have those conversations in order to be successful and to share ideas. So it's not always cookie cutter, it's not driven by just the program, but they are absorbing all of those pieces so that they can help each other in their instruction. This also is another example. It's basically a health walkthrough data, and this is what the admins use. In reflection, they go through their rubric internally. I obviously omitted some of the confidential pieces, but these are the conversations that are had just very organically and really supportive of the teachers, and they just kind of go through what they're seeing, the evidence, and how they can best support them. But there is a very delineated and intentful scope here that the admins really take the time to support their teachers. And this was another example I really wanted to put up there was Foundations, because this is also data-driven. It's a test tractor from grade level or year to year, but I think the emphasis here is really that if the program continues from kindergarten to first and then to second, they have those fundamental skills from grade level to grade level. So that's really the core of like what builds on that success and when you start to see the data really coming in and becoming more meaningful. So the second goal is, I shouldn't say probably my favorite, but it is one of my favorites because it always sparks the conversations that are important around professional development and teacher leadership. It's cultivating a cadre of teacher leaders equipped with advanced data literacy skills by designing and delivering professional development opportunities directly informed by student performance matrix and identified instructional gaps. And so this really dives into what we're providing for our teachers as far as professional development, and also what we can allow for them to foster internally that our district needs and that they can help for and do for each other. So this, again, I always like to give you a highlight. This, I'm sure I'm missing a few things. I mean, inevitably, because there's, every day, all day, every building across the district is really working at everything that you can possibly imagine. So just a few highlights that I wanted to point out. Foundations had PD launching immediately in June of 2025 in order to kind of kick off that particular program. And then PD again in October, coaching to follow, and then opportunities internally with professional development. One specific example is Stacey Davis. She's in district. She's done Parent University evenings. She's phenomenal. She publishes articles, like really just a core talent internally that we celebrate and that we use to help our teachers to cultivate those really authentic professional learning communities. And she's in district, so she's right there with them and knows exactly how to support and what they need. Focus areas are all around Norton-Gillingham, hands-on strategies. Again, then if you shift to Eureka Math Squared, that coaching has also been intense as we kind of go year to year in this particular math program. We're going to be leading into year 3. So, and that coaching also, outside from the external support that we get, we also have Mr. Dave Jones. He's our STEAM and math coach in district, helps teachers daily, and will step into any position of need, will really work respectfully with the leadership team. Again, invaluable. Now, I highlight those two. It's not to say that we don't have several others. Like I said, I'm most likely missing some here and there, so forgive me if I do, but we just have a lot of talent that I do not want to miss in the sense of highlighting what we can do internally as well. District goal number 3. This one, I highlighted that it was going to be over the span of time, but I do want to kind of interject in here that all of these district goals are going to span over a course of a few years for them to truly be worthwhile, right? And to really kind of take the time and give the time not only to the leadership team, but to the teachers and to the students to really perform under the expectations of where we want to see us go. And so we really have to be vested in it, have the difficult conversations as hiccups or challenges come up, but really vest our time. So even though this one says the span of all those years, it will be the same for the other goals as well. Strengthening early childhood through elementary curriculum implementation and instructional excellence. This is to enhance student achievement in early childhood through elementary grades by implementing comprehensive curriculum improvements and targeted professional development initiatives. And this really does highlight, like we have the foundations, arts and letters, our math, and then the co-teaching models and all the strengths that the special education department plans and provides around as well for our children. And that lends itself up to the middle school needs. New ideas and planning time. So we're proud of the new programs and the work that our teachers are doing, the leadership team as well, accomplishing through unit planning, arts and letters, STEAM, cross-curricular, project-based activities, real-world connections, allowing the teachers, I say this all the time, but really that autonomy to grow as a team and cultivate their craft, right, and their pedagogy and the skills that make them special and why they're here. Exploring technology through purpose and meaning will spark a transformative shift in our classrooms. Technology will kind of give us a scope a little bit later as well. But where we want to harness it as a vehicle for deeper learning, and teachers are inspired to craft intentional, innovative instructional experiences. The goal being grounded in instilling a culture of purpose, forward-thinking practice that's redefined what teaching and learning can look like, obviously through all our safety measures as well. And the fourth goal, probably one of my favorite, specifically because I really do love working with everyone, and I really try to take a lot of pride in that and offer those opportunities for everyone, but really honing in on the community. So foster a collaborative educational environment by building strong, lasting relationships with families and community stakeholders while enhancing transparent communication practices and maintaining effective governance structures. This one in the next slide, you just passed that, yeah. In the next slide, I did a lot more as far as just celebrating, what we've accomplished. So we've had a lot of parent university evenings. I will be continuing with that. Cafes, tech experiences, or rather we were presenting at like Texpo. We had, accomplishments with the town and all the stakeholders, bringing people in, but also having our own teachers really lead conversations, book clubs, and accolades and awards that were celebrated in the county. Again, just a few highlights. I always feel like, really the pictures speak to some of our experiences, and it's a nice reminder too of how much we're doing. Okay, and that concludes the piece of like the district goals. Again, I know that there's going to be areas where there probably could have been so much more to discuss, and there is more to discuss in a really great way. If you ever have any questions or something that's really kind of on your mind that you've wanted to discuss, by all means, I have an open door. So, contact me and we can explore it a little bit further. Or if there was something where you're like, I really loved this, and then, could we do something, whatever the something is, that feedback, please, do not hesitate to reach me. So the next slide is going to focus in now at this point our current enrollment and the projected student enrollment. And this I'll just leave here for you guys to take a look at, but it is as of April 24th, 2026. So it's very current.
So this is our state aid history over the past 10 years. This year, the district received an increase in state aid. While this increase is helpful, it doesn't offset the rising costs that we're experiencing. If you look at the change from 24-25 to 25-26, we experienced a loss in state aid, and then followed by an increase from 25-26 to 26-27. This inconsistency and lack of predictability make long-term budget planning more challenging. And then this slide is how does the 26-27 school budget compare to the current school budget? The proposed 26-27 budget is approximately $51 million, representing a 3.38 increase over the current year. This includes adjustments for health benefits and enrollment provided by the NJDOE. The tax impact is approximately $232 annually for the average assessed home that was provided by the township tax assessor. And then this slide breaks down, is a high-level overview of our budget expenditures across key categories that support the overall operation of the district. Our largest portion of the budget, approximately $38.9 million, is allocated to salaries and benefits. This supports all district employees, excluding transportation, and includes substitutes, as well as contractual obligations such as stipends, class coverage, team leaders, and co-curricular activities. Our next section is instructional services and supplies, totaling about $1.4 million. This supports our curricular resources, classroom supplies, instructional equipment. This area also supports professional development for staff. The administration portion of the budget is approximately $1.18 million and covers essential operational costs such as legal and auditing services, our risk, property, and casualty insurance, our central office platforms, and our school resource officers and Class 3 partnerships with the township. Special services is about $882,000 out of the budget, and this supports our one out-of-district school placement, critical related services, including occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech, vision, and ABA services. Our technology portion of the budget is $492,000, and it supports our district-wide internet hardware such as Chromebooks and computers, software platforms, network management, and cybersecurity efforts. Transportation is about $3.7 million, and this supports our transportation salaries, supports our bus fleet, maintenance, contracted transportation services, athletics, aid in lieu payments, and all related fuel and supplies. And then finally, our facilities portion of the budget is approximately $1.7 million, and this supports our building maintenance, custodial, ground services, as well as utility costs, including electricity, gas, and water. Together, these categories reflect our commitment to prioritizing student learning while maintaining a safe, efficient, and well-supported school operation. And then I also just wanted to take a minute to highlight some of the things we've been doing in central office. This slide shows our efforts to improve efficiency and modernize district operations. This year we implemented a new payroll, accounting, and personnel management software, Genesis, Schoolify, and we're also using Frontline now to track professional growth. In addition to implementing Genesis, we're increasing efficiency through electronic timesheets, digital forms, and improved onboarding processes. These updates allow us to operate more effectively, reduce manual processes, and better support our staff across the district.
Thank you. Okay.
Hello, everyone. For the section that I'd like to talk to you all about is curriculum and instruction. So in that big pie graph, you saw that little tiny sliver that talked about instructional services. So I'm going to talk about some of the highlights that we have in that area. When we are thinking about that piece, we're always thinking, of course, about students and how we improve student outcomes, how we prepare our learners for the future, and how we support our teachers to do their best work. So we look at what are some of the areas, especially too, that the state of New Jersey is expecting of us with new mandates, new state student learning standards, and also just how we want our students to be ready for a New Jersey future. So we look at high quality curriculum that makes sure that we are aligned with the high academic standards of New Jersey, diverse student needs, and constantly changing world. We invest in instruction through teacher training, coaching, resources, and making sure that we have curriculum that can be delivered in many ways that actually reach every learner. So the first investment that we've made with our budget is foundations. Foundations in K&1 last year. So because K&1, the positive feedback that we've had both from teachers and students, we are going to continue that in grade 2. So for next year, grade 2 students will have that continued service of having foundations in their grade 2 classrooms. So that comes with being able to have the supplies that they need, and also the teachers need the training to make sure they are as successful as the K&1 were as well. Grade 2, again, will be a continuation of more of our reading program using arts and letters. Arts and letters comes in modules. They have 4 modules for each year. The modules are very lengthy, so what we're going to try to do is move a module perhaps from first up to second, and then this way second grade gets the benefit of another module. We are investing in some module training and also a new module for grade 2, so that's exciting. Year 3 of Eureka Math is something really to look forward to. Great, year 1, year 2, huge success. Our students are doing things that we are all every day very excited about, and to see their growth is phenomenal. Next year, what I'm excited about, and I know Mr. Jones is too, is the EQUIP. EQUIP is a part of Eureka Math Square that we're investing in that helps teachers look at the standards from previous year and see what standards need to make solid for them to be successful in the current year. So being able to look at that data before delivering the instruction is key to making sure that it's successful. World language. World language is getting a boost too. So those are some examples of the world language curriculum that we'll be looking at. Somos and Vamos, all of this has to do with language acquisition. It's a different way of looking at how we learn language. When I go into an 8th grade classroom and see this already in play, in Mrs. Schweitzer's room, you can see that what this is all about is, and it reminds me of a kindergarten classroom or a 1st grade classroom where we're teaching our littles how to work with English. In the same way, we will be doing that with Spanish all the way through in our elementary and into our middle school. So it's very exciting to see a different switch in that. And because of this, we're ahead of the game. So the new standards are coming out this summer for world language, and we are ready. Another investment that we've made in our budget planning is to continue with the One District, One Book initiative. I don't know about you, but it's one of my favorite things that we've done in the last 2 years. Year 3, who knows, but the money is put aside for us to continue that. Curriculum writing, over the summer, it's my busiest time of the year. We are going to have to work on some updates to STEAM because we're always looking at how to make that bigger and better. The revised world language, as I brought up a second ago. We're going to refine and optimize year 3. We're going to refine year 2 to make year 3 even better of elementary Eureka Math Squared. And again, grade 2 will get a facelift with foundations and arts and letters. Okay, just Scarpin.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here to talk to you about special education. I'm going to walk you through our current data, program development, and how we are strengthening services for students across the district. I think it's a logical story from students, instruction, programs, cost, needs, and also the future. This shows the percentage of students receiving special education services over the past 4 years, and we have seen a steady decrease from 16% down to about 12.42%. This reflects stronger general education supports and early intervention efforts. In New Jersey, the average is 17%. The national average is about 15%. It is important to note that this is not about reducing services, but ensuring students are supported in the most appropriate setting. We are investing in our staff through job-embedded coaching. Our focus areas include behavior management, supporting students with complex needs, and inclusive practices. We are developing teacher leaders within the district, teachers that are actually fostering one another. There is also increased collaboration between general education, special education, and the child study team. This information I pulled directly from the New Jersey Department of Education website. It shows our district's placement of students across educational environments. And I want you to look at the green, pea green area. In column number 1, that is the national average of students that are placed in gen ed settings 80% or more of the day. And that is what our code is requiring us to do, to put students in the least restrictive environment. So across the country, it is about, you're talking like 68%. The 2 columns in the middle is what New Jersey, where we're averaging. We are probably the bottom, if not the 49th state, the 50th state in the country about how low we place students in our least restrictive environment. The far right is our district, which is great. We're right about where the national average is. And what I actually did was pull another grade level. I'm going to bring you up what 2nd grade looks like. Students are accessing instruction alongside peers while receiving all the necessary supports. It is a direct result of all of the co-teaching that we've done over the years and also instructional alignment. So our last column to the right, we are blowing it out of the water. We're even better than the national average. We have expanded several in-district programs to meet student needs. This includes the Life Skills program at the middle school, LLD, which is our Language and Learning Disabilities programs across the district, and our integrated preschool opportunities. Our focus is on keeping students in district whenever appropriate. Programs are designed to support communication, independence, and functional life skills. We currently have 3 districts in the area that want to pay tuition to have students come into our programs. As a result of program expansion, we have reduced reliance on our out-of-district placements. This increases access to peers, it strengthens family connections to our district, and it also allows us to provide services within our own programs. This work requires the investment in staff training and program development. This graph shows the reduction of out-of-district placements over time. We have gone to over 20 placements to just 1 projected for next year. This reflects both stronger in-district programming and improved student outcomes. It also represents a significant cost savings to the district. We are seeing an increased need for support for students that have very complex needs. This includes the need for behaviorally trained staff, one-to-one supports, and specialized programming. We are focusing on behavior intervention plans, functional communication systems like AAC devices, students walking around with iPads for their communication, and sensory supports. Our commitment is to ensure safety, access to instruction, and of course, dignity for all of our students. Our continued focus is on strengthening special education programs across Washington Township schools. We are expanding inclusive practices by leveraging the expertise of our staff and ensuring students have the supports they need in the least restrictive environment. We are also working to strengthen our K-8 Life Skills program, ensuring continuity in academic, social, and daily living development as students grow. Another priority is increasing our in-district capacity to support students with more complex needs, allowing us to build stronger programs within our own schools. We also remain committed to enhancing preschool supports, recognizing that early intervention is critical to long-term student success. Across all of this work, our priorities remain very clear: data-driven decision-making, ongoing staff training, and improved student outcomes. Everything I've shared tonight comes back to this. Our commitment is that our work is more than programs or services. It's about ensuring that every one of our students has the opportunity to succeed, both in our schools and beyond. And now technology.
Thank you. I'm really excited to present to you tonight some of the highlights from our technology year, as well as some things we can look forward to for next year. I really like to start with this slide because I think so many times when people think about technology, they think about devices, specifically Chromebooks, right? So I really love to show just how the bigger picture of our technology department and exactly what we work on, how we support, and all of the different parts of our school learning community that we both support and help to innovate and increase efficiency and things like that. And it's basically the tools that power learning, from the phone systems to cybersecurity, right, to all of our data and information systems. So we're supporting every corner of the district. So I think it's a really important thing to keep in mind. And I also want to take a moment to shout out my technology team. We have Rob Fissel, who's here tonight. I have Kyle Jinks, Daniel Thermitis, and also Chris Cryan from the maintenance department, who does a lot of collaborating on projects with our department. Some highlights we have for this year. So our STEAM and innovation, we orchestrated the integration of our STEAM lab technologies. You can see pictures here of our 3D printers in our STEAM labs, our chomp saws, which are cardboard cutters, which have been a huge hit with the students this year, and our Teacher Geek parts, components parts where the kids can build. So we have 3D and fabrication tools. We're also really excited to announce that we secured the Burns and McDonald's STEM grant, which will advance PD for our STEAM teachers next year. So we're really, really excited about that. Our AI initiative, we created a district-wide AI plan to guide and implement AI into our district. And we launched a pilot program at LVMS so we can kind of evaluate those integration and pedagogical impacts. We did reach 90% deployment of BenQ boards, which are those interactive displays throughout the district. So we've replaced 90% of our aging smart boards. So we have 10% left that we're looking forward to next year. We have successfully upgraded 50% of our staff devices, and we've transitioned our grades 1 to 5 to brand new touchscreen Chromebooks, which has significantly reduced labor and parts cost for the aging fleet. For our core infrastructure, we did some network and server modernizations, some upgrades. We also have now power redundancies. We were able to tie our district network hardware into the LVMS generator so that we can safeguard that critical connectivity and prevent any data loss during power outages. So that's been an awesome addition this year. We also, so our technology department maintains an average of 2,000 support tickets annually. So we were able to add this year a temporary part-time technician, half-time, which allowed us to shift from a reactive break and fix model type to a proactive support model. And this has made such a tremendous difference, which kind of leads us to the wanting to be able to have that additional tech support for next year. We've been able to reclaim bandwidth, focus on high priority, core responsibilities, and balance our workloads. We have a cybersecurity collaboration with Aeneas Technology, who is our cybersecurity consultant. It allows us to have a proactive defense model. We have risk mitigation, as you can see, and we also completed a comprehensive Google audit, which helped us tighten our account security, optimize device management settings, and we're going to continue that project into this summer. We also spearheaded the data migration to our new Genesis student information system that actually started in January. To be able to seamlessly transition off of OnCourse and onto Genesis. And we also navigated some critical shifts. The New Jersey state reporting is New Jersey SLEDS now. It left New Jersey SMART. We have a new NJSLA testing system. So we were able to ensure data integrity and technology readiness through both the fall pilot and our upcoming NJSLA spring testing window, which is next week. We've also built capacity with our staff, but also our tech team and community engagement. So this is just an example. Actually, these are some of the things that we participated in this year. So we did a lot of staff professional development that we ran on those professional development days in addition to PLCs. Our technology team also attended many conferences, and we also presented at conferences. And we also hosted Tech Talk workshop. And our middle school tech topics with Mr. Eppolito and Mr. Mirabella, which is coming up on May 7th at 7 o'clock at the LVMS library if you're interested in attending. And we also built out a parent resources webpage. So we have that that you can visit on our technology page. And just looking ahead, we're excited to be able to continue our Chromebook one-to-one lifecycle management, bringing in new grade 5 touchscreen Chromebooks. And the way our Evergreen cycle works is they come into 5th grade and they get a brand new device that they keep with them all the way through 8th grade. And that's how we are able to replace aging devices, because then as the 8th graders leave, those aging devices get deprovisioned, and then we have new devices come in. Instructional technology integration, we continue to have ongoing classroom technology upgrades. I talked about our BenQ boards. We're working on refining access workflows for our substitute educators to create a more seamless and integrated experience. We're really excited about the Google Workspace license upgrade. This is going to expand both security tools for our team, but also provide advanced features for teaching and learning. So it allows us access to a lot of premium Google tools for both teachers and students. We have some more infrastructure and server upgrades. A visitor system integration where we're going to automate visitor management workflows so we can improve front office efficiency and campus security. We are very excited to formalize the technician role into a permanent .5 position. And again, we're really excited about the Genesis Student Information System, integrating with SchoolFi, the Frontline Professional Development Program, and continued opportunities for our professional development for both our staff and our tech team. Thank you.
All right, everyone. So thank you so much. I know it was a little bit of a longer presentation this evening, but I really wanted to get the breadth of all of our celebrations and the things that we're extremely proud of. Clearly, we cannot make this happen in isolation, right? So I always say that a really great leader should be measured by an even greater team and an even greater and more supportive community. So it's really all of us together. Some of the leadership is clearly here this evening that has presented with me that I'm extremely grateful for, and some of the rest of my leadership team is also, there are some in the audience as well. So if Mr. Bolito and Mr. Mirabella could just stand up for a moment, I just wanted to thank you guys, or point at each other or wave. But also, you know, so I don't forget anyone, Dr. Marangon and Mr. Winstead over at Flocktown Cosman, Mr. Peruso and Mr. O'Connor, that's over at Cuccinella. And then I also have Mr. Scotto, who's over at Old Farmers. So I'm extremely grateful for my team and for the teachers and for you all as family, and of course my board. So so thank you for this evening, for paying attention, and for kind of, I know the littles are very tired, one is sleeping. So at this point, I'll just pass the mic over to the next presentation.
So next we have a presentation, the board self-evaluation by Dr. Pinheiro from New Jersey School Boards. They're getting set up still, but I'll turn it over to him.
Okay, yeah, we're just about ready. So, yeah, I'm going to take, what a great presentation, and I was so drawn I forgot why I was here, so I need a minute to kind of to reset. Okay, so tonight I'm here to talk about, and it's it's two different pieces. I'll call it two presentations, but they're in one. One is just to talk quickly about the CSA tool, so that's the Chief School Administrator, the Superintendent. So we have a tool that you use for evaluating the superintendent. So I'll just go through that process, sort of like an orientation or an overview. And then we'll do the same thing for the board self-evaluation. So the board here in Washington Township also evaluates itself, which is a great way to reflect and build goals from there. Yeah, we're going to be good. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so that's why I'm here tonight. Yes, you got this. Searching for source. So some of the screens you'll see here are what you'll see when you're in the platform doing the evaluations, but I do have hard copies, so when I'm finished with the presentation, I'll drop those off and each of you can take it. It looks a little different than what you see on the screen, but the idea is that it's a PDF, so it's a little neater looking. When you're in the screen, it's like a workspace, so that's how you'll do that work. Okay, great. Oh yeah, no, so ethics reminder, a board member whose relative works in the district will likely be considered conflicted and may not take part in the evaluation process. So I think, yeah, I did ethics with you in the fall or in December-ish. So we went over that a little bit. If there's any, you would know by now if you have any conflicted members, but if you're not sure, talk to your board attorney. Okay, so first we'll talk about the Chief School Administrator evaluation tool. So it's an accountability platform as far as the regulations and the law is concerned, but I like to see it more as a collaborative deal. And it is a very collaborative experience. So, but it does address legal guidelines. So the 18A, 17, et cetera, requires that boards evaluate their superintendent once a year. The evaluation is in writing, that there's a meeting to discuss the findings, and that this evaluation will be based on two main things, district goals and leadership standards. So we all saw an update on the district goals today, so I can even reference those when we get to the slides that include goals as a reference. Also, with regard to the legal guidelines, there's a monitoring system called QSAC. I like to say it because it's so ludicrous. It's the New Jersey Quality Single Accountability Continuum, New Jersey QSAC. So this is just one piece from the governance indicators that reinforces that aspect of the regulations, that by July 1, the superintendent will be evaluated on strengths, areas that might need improvement, recommendations for growth, and indicators of student progress and growth. And at the end of all that, there's a summary conference meeting that includes a majority of the total board membership. So these are just aspects of the tool and the process. So one thing is that it's not required to use school board's tool, but Washington Township Schools has decided to do that, and that's what I'll be sharing tonight. It provides for standardized methodology, so we're aligned with standards and the statutory requirements. It was developed, so I guess I'm going clockwise. It's developed in collaboration with NJASA. So we're NJSBA, School Boards Association. Yes. And then there's the NJASA. So that's an association of school administrators. So those are the administrators. We're sort of the legislative piece or the oversight piece. And so together we came up with what's in this tool. So it's not just that school boards came up with it. It was a collaboration. It also, allows for full participation by all members as long as they're not conflicted. Okay, so before using the CSA evaluation tool, so then it gets a little technical. We don't have to do too much here. The main thing to know is that your BA is the person who has the permission to make sure that all the leadership are listed in Cobalt, so your BA knows what that means, in our census. So once the leadership is in there, then everything can trigger when the superintendent goes in to the school board NJSBA CSA evaluation tab. There'll be a slide on that too. So that's what triggers it all. So we just want to make sure that the board president is in that census, that all the board members, of course, are listed because that's what populates the online platform. All the emails need to be accurate. And then let me know if there are any conflicted board members. And also, we can reference a calendar. So it's a timetable. You don't have to do anything too formal, but to just know that the superintendent is going to need about X, a couple weeks or whatever is decided. And then you give the board members a certain amount of time to complete their part. So there's a video in case it's needed. I won't spend too much time on it, but that's the whole census business. So that's probably, yeah, if your BA needs it, I just say pick up the phone and call me and we can work on it. Okay, so don't have to go through this too much, but the stairs indicate that it's evaluation process. The highlighted part tells you where we're at pretty much today. And then it's recursive because it's something that's done every year. So today, well, this isn't the pre-conference per se, but this is the time when if there's going to be a pre-conference, you would have that. I think setting up the timetable and just knowing that you're on the same page and this presentation constitutes a pre-conference. But if you do something more formal, feel free. And then kind of going up the stairs, the superintendent completes the district goals, self-assessment, and leadership standards. So the superintendent will populate those goals into the platform so that they can be referenced when the board is looking to do evaluation of each of those goals. And then in the leadership standards too, the superintendent will do some self-reflection on that and include that. And then the non-conflicted folks can go in and do their part in the evaluation. You'll see a screen or two about what that looks like. When it's time for the compiled evaluation and the board to develop its majority opinion, that's moving towards the performance report, you would want to rice your superintendent to let, it's a formal letter that says we're going to be talking with you in closed session about you from an evaluation standpoint. Same thing goes with the annual summary at the very end, and of course that has to happen before or by July 1. And like I said, it's sort of recursive. So let's just go through it pretty quickly. So first there's the goals. So the superintendent will populate those goals. It looks like that information and the evidence and all is pretty ready to go after what I saw last night. So that should be a fairly straightforward process for Superintendent Lind. And usually there's 3 to 5 critical focus areas that would be considered the goals. Again, it's an annual collaborative process between the board and the superintendent. And then action plans are developed that include indicators of success, regular progress updates, et cetera. Okay, so this is just what the screen looks like. The PDF that I'll drop off for you looks like this. It's just not populated anyway, and it's the boxes are shorter because, it's just a representation of this. But it's the same thing. So the first red text there, that's what the superintendent would write in there. So it's the comment goes there. Consider the action plan and progress updates. This goal has been achieved, whether the goal has been achieved, satisfactory progress, et cetera. So the goal goes in the empty box at the top. The superintendent puts in a comment and then self-rates. So that's either achieved, satisfactory progress made, little or no progress made. Press pause for a second. I noticed that today when you did the goals review, that some were multi-year goals. So that's why it's appropriate to maybe indicate satisfactory progress made, but then put in the comments, this is an ongoing goal. And then at the bottom, that's where that's where the board members can then, also indicate whether they feel it's achieved satisfactory progress, et cetera, and then put their own comment there. And each board member will do this, and then there's a majority opinion that's developed by the board president. Question?
Well, yeah, we've had multi-year goals in the past. We've approached them slightly differently when it comes to the eval. We looked at it as, was the first year portion of that multi-year goal achieved? Recognizing that the whole goal, it's a 3-year goal, maybe a 5-year goal, that hasn't been achieved, but the part that was supposed to have been achieved this year was.
So like an annual objective for the longer term goal?
Yeah, like action 1 was supposed to be done by end of 26. That's done, achieved.
That's an excellent process. Thank you. Okay, so this is a sample of the compilation for a goal. Can I share that with others when I'm in other districts about multi? Yeah, thank you. I like that. Okay, so superintendent comments. This is an example of the compilation for a goal. The superintendent might write that CSA reports out so the superintendent reports out monthly at board meetings on the progress made towards goals. Attached is the yearly, so there's the evidence that's attached. The yearly action plan for district goals. This is just from a year or 2 ago. Additional evidence can be found in the attached standards links too, so links can be included in that box as well. And then board member comments. These are multiple, so it's the compilation. There's one that says the superintendent and BA have done an excellent job of incorporating the security measures There's another one, demonstrated throughout school-wide events and communication to parents and the community. This goal was safety and security. And then another comment from a board member, safety and security has been made a priority by the board. The superintendent has made sure that plan is being properly and expeditiously implemented. So that's a sense of what the compilation looks like. Oh, and then at the bottom there, 7 board members. So this is an 8-member board. 7 said that this was achieved. 1 said satisfactory progress, and the other said little or no. So now we're going to talk about the standards. So that's what the goals part looks like for the superintendent evaluation. So now we're going to look at the standards piece. So it's just those 2 pieces, and actually it's the same for the board's self-evaluation. So this is just a quick slide to indicate that the standards are developed by the ISLEC standards. That's the Interstate School Leaders Licensure Consortium. So these standards are national, and everyone uses them in evaluating superintendents. Okay, these are them. Mission, vision, core values, governance, ethics, and professional norms, operations management, curriculum instruction assessment, school improvement, community of care, equity and family engagement, professional capacity / community of school district personnel. So each of those standards, this is just one sample. It's standard 1, mission, vision, and core values. It looks really busy, but it's pretty straightforward. It's just those same sections we talked about. So it explains what exemplary, proficient, almost like a rubric, area for growth, unsatisfactory, not observed means. And then there's the sample resources for standard 1 in red there in the middle. And that's a suggestion of what it might include, such as communication regarding mission statement, vision statement, et cetera. And then the superintendent can put links there. That's what that italicized red looks like under superintendent selected evidence. And then again, it slides down to where the board members at the bottom there are able to then assess standard 1 and put their own comments. So that's the standards. The last one you saw was the goals. And this is what the compilation might look like for the standards. So this is now, say, standard 2, and that's effective educational leaders, exhibit, et cetera. And then there are 7, I guess, substandards, indicators. And so each board member, so this is that 8-member board. If you go across, you'll see that it adds up to 8 in all cases. And that's how they were tallied. And at the very bottom, it's pulled together so that if you take one column and add them up, that should, and divide by 7, you're going to get the exemplary divided by 7 is 1, et cetera, because there are 7 indicators, and there's a response for each one. Okay, and then we're moving towards the annual performance report, which is what all of this winds up, that's the culmination of all of it. So there's the compilation of the non-conflicted board member input. So that's some work that the board president has to do, or a designee. Annual performance report, but that contains the majority ratings. There'll be a little bit of another comment on that too, but what that means is when the board has met and discussed the compilation and the input and the comments and the ratings, a majority opinion is developed, and then again that's put together by the board president into the eventual report that is shared with the superintendent just before the summary conference and then discussed in the summary conference. It says in that bottom one there that that's where the minority ratings comments may be verbally shared. So what that means is the report itself, so the annual performance report, is the majority rating. And then if there's a minority opinion, that can be expressed verbally at that conference at the end. Okay, so this is the process, I guess just restated in the annual performance report. So in that executive session, board members meet. Remember that the superintendent has to receive the Rice notice. The non-conflicted, we say that over and over again because it's an important issue. Board members start with compilation or a draft written by the board president as a starting point for the discussion. The annual performance report is written by the board president, I mentioned that, or the designee. You can draw straws. In the executive session, non-conflicted board members and superintendent conference, they get together to discuss the annual performance report. The minority ratings comments can be verbally shared if desired. And then it's signed by the board president and the superintendent. Okay, so this is what the template looks like. And by the way, John, I'll send you, once the process is started and just about completed, I'll send you all the resources that will help you with this. You don't have to necessarily use them all, but we do have a template for this. So what would happen is this becomes, while each of you has done your own version of a report, so to speak, it all comes together in one template or one performance report. So this is what our template looks like. You would check one, see district goal. So then it just, the things we've just talked about become memorialized in one document. Same thing here, and then that's the standards. So that was the goals. That's what the standards part of the template looks like. It's very straightforward, and it just mimics, it's aligned with the state regulations. Okay, and then there's a place to put areas of strength and then possible growth, professional growth, and those can be marked and there can be multiples with supporting remarks. Okay, and then wrapping up, Rice notice to CSA, shared evaluation prior to the conference. So the superintendent does have a chance to look at it before the meeting. There's the majority of non-conflicted members attending. Hopefully everybody can go who's not conflicted. Then there's the minority rating possibility if that's going to be shared verbally. And then minutes of the executive session reflect that it's been held. Okay, and all that has to be completed by July 1. So this is just a restatement of what I said. So what I wind up doing is, so you get automatic, the board members will get automatically generated emails. So once the superintendent has done her part, that'll trigger a notice that gives you, that within 48 hours, each board member will be notified that they can go in now and take care of their part of the evaluation. So I can then work with the board president to either coach going onto the website and pulling the confidential compilation, or I can pull it together and put it password protected. I think I'm moving around too much with this. And so those are the key steps that sometimes become tricky. So those are the ones we have to worry about. The rest is sort of just, again, a restatement. Rice notice, designate, writes the end, yeah. So we've gone through that twice. But it's that top part that you can really reach out to me and even our tech team to make sure that that all goes smoothly. Who keeps a copy? We keep it until December 31st. The idea is we don't look at, it's not our business, it's confidential. So even when we're going through the process of providing information to the board president, we're not reviewing it, we're not reading it. We're just holding on to it in our data, within our tool, and then sharing it with you. And then by December 31st, we purge them all for the whole year for every county in New Jersey and everyone who's done it. So the idea is to have the superintendent keep a copy for themselves and the board attorney keeps a copy for the board. Okay, so it's not just things to consider. It's not a once-a-year thing, it's ongoing. And as you can see just from the update on goals today, there's a continual conversation among all of you with regard to progress on the, with regard to student outcomes and so forth. So all that, it's recursive. Everybody who can participate should. There you go. All right, so if we have any questions about the CSA, we can talk about that real quickly, or you can follow up with me in an email or even reach out, because the next step is going to be talking about the board self-evaluation. Good? All right, let's keep going. So the self-evaluation. So this is going to, it's going to look very much like what we just went through. So I might be able to go even quicker for that. So the board's self-reflection is for the whole board, reflection as a whole board, but also individual board members have an opportunity to reflect on their own boardsmanship for the year. It can be completed by all board members. There's no deadline, so you can do it any time of the year. It's usually prior to setting your goals as a board, but every board does it differently. And it's also not required the way the superintendent's is, but we consider it a best practice, and it really does provide an opportunity for board members to reflect individually and together, which is always a positive. So yeah, improves governance and management, again, because it's a reflection. Results used to develop future board goals, mentioned that. Brings individuals together as a team and sets standards for board conduct and operations. The how of it, board completes annually, may include the CSA. So the superintendent can participate, and again, every district does it differently, but superintendents are in the list of people who can access this. 2 components, the board goals and standards, same thing I just showed you with regard to the superintendent's evaluation. 6 areas of board governance. I am the FSR, so that's the field service rep, and I compile those results. I have to do more with that. I deliver a summary and, so I deliver it and then review the findings with you. Typically, boards will invite the FSR to come in and review that, or I can just provide you the compilation. One of the things we do there, though, is also, so we encourage all board members, be careful not to discuss staff members, because this isn't, this theoretically could be a public document. So what we do is we go through it and we suggest redactions. You share that with your board attorney and see if a name that's referenced should be. So performance without ricing, it goes back to that. Without ricing a staff member, their performance shouldn't be discussed, and it's certainly in a document that potentially could be public. So, but back to the point is that I compile the results and then I deliver that over to you all, and you can review it. You can invite me in to work with you through it, and I'll show you a little bit more about that in a second. Yeah, okay. So the first thing to do is, so the board president gets the process started by just logging into the School Boards Association regular page. Sometimes I'll hear from board presidents and they'll say, where's the link? Or even the superintendent when they do the CSA evaluation. Because you do this once a year and you're like, oh, it must be a special link because we get these automated messages from Paul's office. You really just go into, and there's going to be a slide on it, the njsba.org, and then you look under evaluation for boards. When you are the president and you log in, you see a screen like this. It'll have your school district there, and then you click, and it launches it for you. Board president has to do it first. There'll be a slide on that in a second. So it opens to this window. And then there's the ratings description. So these ratings are, like I said, it's very much aligned with the superintendent's evaluation. And so once you see all that, as the board president, you would click proceed to evaluation, and again, that triggers everything. Okay, so this is the important thing, that the business administrator must enter the board president as the board president into NJSBA platform census. That slips through the cracks a lot. So within the census in Cobalt, that means less to people who might be viewing this recording, but for you all, you're listed, but there's also a leadership box. And in that leadership box, it should list the board president and vice president and delegates. And that's really important because most of the calls I have to say that I've gotten recently for this have been that they can't access it, and that was why. Something as simple as just entering that. Okay, so this is a fairly new feature where if the board doesn't have a goal, you can click that box for whatever reason, and the board president must log in first, as I said, and you can enter up to 5 goals. There can, just like with the superintendent, you can add a hyperlink or evidence on the goal, just so everybody knows what we're talking about as individual board members, because the other board members after the president are going to be reflecting, and there might have to be that reminder, oh yeah, we did this. So it's a little bit of work on the front end for the board president. The glories of leadership, John. Okay, so this is the members view. You'll click on, so that's 3 hypothetical goals. Board will complete the superintendent's eval by July 1, which is required statute from a legal standpoint. and it would be achieved. Board will continue professional development, satisfactory progress made. The board will review and revise bylaws, satisfactory progress made. So similar to the superintendent's listing of goals and then the rating of it. Okay, so these are the board standards. Vision, mission, goals, capacity, board compliance, operations, student achievement, resource management, compliance, stakeholder relationships, engagement. And these come from the New Jersey School Boards Association's key work of school boards. Okay, and then there's standards. So these are the standards for boards. Example, standard statement, our board is committed to a shared vision of our district's future, its mission and goals to move our district forward that are focused on student achievement, guide district strategies, and reflect community values. Again, there's a rating system, there's boxes for comments, and then there's greatest strength, which is kind of cool. So then as a board, when you're reflecting, you can talk about, compare notes on areas that you saw as strengths. And then there's a challenge opportunity area. So when individual board members enter those, there could be some head nodding when you're reviewing. It's, oh yeah, that's true, we did accomplish that. Or yeah, we could use some work in that. And the ratings sort of move you in that direction to be able to read it and say, well, that's our highest rating, and that's a rating that might be still relatively high, but it's on the lower end, so maybe that's the one that we address as a goal. This is for the individual members, so you will reflect on your own performance as an individual board member, and you go through those. It's not a comment section for that. And then, yeah, there's that ending one where it's the greatest strengths and areas for further work. And then that provides that, stimulates that conversation I talked about. And then there's the compilation report, very similar to what I said about the superintendent's report. And this is where you see on the final column the averages. So just as an example, the highest average here was a 3.5 for A, revisits, reaffirms, or revises our vision, mission, etc. And then there's one, so if it's 3 or lower, that might be an area that you say, all right, let's look at that for a goal. That's an area we might be able to grow as a board. And so in this case, our hypothetical case, 2.75, it's under 3, so that's an area you say, we better look at that. And in that case, it was using relevant data to engage in continuous district improvement by the annual setting of district goals, et cetera. So that's sort of like the data one. And that one does come up as an area for needing refresh quite often because, using data is a big commitment. And then there's an average on the bottom there. So we can all go over that together, but the compilation report is very straightforward. It winds up, there's 2 different ways that we can provide you with that information. This is one chart. And again, as you can see, so in this case, the bluish, purplish blue, that's exemplary. And then there's the proficient in green. Not observed would be the brown parts. And then unsatisfactory would be red. So those are areas that that this hypothetical board have indicated they should have some conversation about. It's another way to look at it if you have multi-years. You can compare them. That's a current year, so it's missing a different year, but it would then show up. So you might see under vision, mission, goals, that looks like a 3.25, let's say, and then maybe last year it was a 3, something like that. So you would see both bars there. Okay, and this was, I feel like this should be in the front end of this presentation, but this is where it all starts. So as board members, when you say, where's that link? You just log into njsba.org and you find this page. I'll send this to you all. That's a hyperlink, so you can just do that. It'll bring you to this page. But under the top one, board self-evaluation resources, it says begin now. And there's also some other resources for you in case you have to consult the FAQs. So you would click that and it would open and say, it's time for you to now do your board self-evaluation. Okay, remember you are evaluating only the board, your team's performance and efficacy, not the district and not the staff. It's important to stick with the board. That's, the purpose of this is your own reflection. And also if there are staff mentioned there and all that, then we have to start looking into redactions. So try to avoid that. There's usually always a couple. Sometimes it's just because people get excited and they say positive things, and then I make recommendations and your board attorney can look at them as far as what to do with that. Okay. So, yeah, that's the process. I know it's pretty familiar for many of you. Any questions on that? Okay, great. I know you have more to do, and that it's been, you've had a lot of presentations tonight. So I'll say just reach out if you need me, and I'm going to leave behind those hard copies. Thank you. My pleasure.
Thanks again, Dr. Pinero. Moving on to correspondence. This month we have correspondence from, let me just pull this up, sorry. T and D Collins, M. Nikaya Wald, L. Mason, and B. Martin. And moving on to committee reports, can we start with the Education Committee?
Maybe. Is this on? It's so far away. Is it hooked on something?
No, I think you can pull it closer.
Oh, no, something just. I think I broke it. All right. The Education Committee met Friday, April 17th. In attendance were myself, Kelly, Anna, Rob, Ms. Russo, our Director of Curriculum and Instruction, and Superintendent Lind. We discussed One Book, One District. This was a tremendous success, and we had a great turnout. We thank our staff for their professionalism and dedication to this initiative, putting our students and community first. A special thanks, I apologize in advance if I get anyone's name wrong, to Deb Russo, Meg DeFrance, who was dressed as the gorilla, Jeanette Azetta, Erica Sanzoni, Lisa Lapella, Kelsey Boyle, Dana Schoenlieber, Nicole Strungus, Jenna Lipkin, Julie Davis, Tara Lygos, Suzanne Hoffman, and Rihanna Bonanno. I hope I got those right. We discussed diagnostic platforms. We reviewed our current diagnostic platforms and future pilots, specifically iReady. We want to access teacher feedback and data, moving slowly with new initiatives in this area to ensure we are all comfortable with the platforms and that they are serving our district goals. We discussed the resolution regarding paper testing. Mr. Waskis reviewed his planning and timeline with the committee, and we gathered feedback from Ms. Russo. The committee also discussed Go Guardian parent app and proposed curfew policy. We'll review this further next month as well, but we are looking to work with families to limit tech Chromebook use outside of school, only necessary for homework. So we'll review that next month. We talked about the NJSLA updates. May 4th, we begin testing for grades 3 through 8, and we began some middle school discussions with more updates in May.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Finance and Facilities.
The Finance and Facilities Committee met on April 20th. Jess, Mike, Antonella, Katie, Stephanie, John, and I were in attendance. We began with a review of the referendum project, starting with the LVMS paving project, which needs to be repaired due to cracking. Our geotechnical engineering consultant is recommending milling and repaving the top layer of asphalt based on their analysis of core samples showing air voids in excess of the contract specs, which have a maximum of 8%. The contractor, Vollers, wants to take additional core samples at their own expense, so we anticipate further back and forth about the scope of the rework. The kickoff meeting for the sports courts was held with the contractor, and work is scheduled to start June 22nd as soon as school ends, and end August 21st. There's a bit of a delay in there for a 28-day cure time for the concrete before the surfacing can be applied. The pack, as you can see, is complete except for a sound console, which is on order, and the ceiling work that John mentioned earlier to address the peeling paint. The committee then discussed a revision of District Policy 7510, which is up for a first read tonight and allows for facility use by for-profit agencies with the same caveats as the previous revision of the policy. Next, the committee continued its review of prescription drug costs in an attempt to limit long-term growth. Then we reviewed the contract renewal for our food service vendor, Macio's, which is item number 9 on tonight's agenda, along with updated lunch prices, which is item number 10. committee then received status updates on the security contract with the town, which we hope to approve at next month's board meeting, and the budget that was approved by the county soup, which is item number 13 on tonight's agenda. After that, the committee discussed a series of security enhancement efforts for the district, including cameras, alternate emergency notification, and a SETTED audit, which stands for Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design. Finally, as promised at the last meeting, the committee reviewed costs associated with the Destination Imagination program. While the position of the committee hasn't changed since the last time the numbers were reviewed, we will investigate alternative opportunities to provide meaningful experiences for students to express their creativity and hone their innovation skills. Subject to questions, that's the report.
Moving on to personnel.
Personnel met Tuesday, April 21st at 1 p.m. In attendance were Mike Catano, Kelly Mutart, Jennifer Ryan, Superintendent Lind, and myself. We discussed the updates on the personnel timelines, discussion of rice notices and dates, a need for executive session in May, and a review of RIFs per our budget planning. We also discussed retirement and future postings thus far. SRO and Class 3 contract, posting and planning for an additional Class 3. We hope to have the contracts on the agenda for our next board meeting and start to plan with Chief Almer for the additional Class 3 officer for the new school year.
Thank you. Communication and governance.
Communications and Governance met on April 28th. In attendance was myself, Melanie Bratton, Anna Scaiano, and Superintendent Lind. We reviewed the policies for tonight's first read, Bylaw 0143, Board Member Election and Appointment, Policy 1636.01, Notification of Promotion, New Job, and Transfer Opportunities, Policy 2422, Statutory Circular Requirements, Policy 5117, Interdistrict Public School Choice, Regulation 5117, Interdistrict Public School Choice, Policy 7510, Use of School Facilities, and Regulation 7510, Use of School Facilities. We also discussed a PTO policy. We are currently waiting on review with our board attorney for updates and additional clarity for protocols. We will share for the first read as soon as possible.
Thank you. Moving on to public comment on agenda items. If anybody has public comment on agenda items, please approach the microphone, state your name, address, and you'll have 3 minutes to provide any comment. I'd also like to caveat that if there's any questions on the budget, this would be an appropriate time to ask those as well. Okay, moving on to approval of minutes. Making a motion to approve the March 25th regular meeting minutes.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any abstentions? Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the March 25th executive session meeting minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? All right, thank you. All right, moving on to the agenda items, we'll start with education. Can I have somebody please move education?
I'd like to make a motion to approve items 1 through 3 on the agenda.
Do you have a second? Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Ryan? Yes. Mrs. DeSico?
Yes.
Mrs. Mutart?
Yes.
Mrs. Vieira?
Yes.
Mrs. Scaiano?
Yes.
Mr. Waskis?
Yes.
Mrs. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Catano?
Yes.
Mr. Olmstead?
Yes. Next, can we have somebody please move finance?
Finance would like to move item number 4 on tonight's agenda, a motion to accept with gratitude a contribution of $10,569 from the Long Valley Junior Women's Club to provide resources and services for all of our schools throughout the district as indicated in tonight's agenda. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Ryan? Yes. Mrs. DeSico?
Abstain with 4A, yes to 4B.
Hang on a second, John. I missed B. I missed the other donation. Sorry.
That's okay.
It's also a donation of $500 from Macaroni Kids Morris and the Hazlitt team winning the Morris County School Spirit Contest to be used at the Flockdown Cosmic School for Educational Programs. My apologies.
That's okay. Just to make it official, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that before B? Okay, roll call?
Am I starting over? Mrs. Ryan? Yes. Mrs. DeSico?
Abstain with 4A, yes to 4B.
Mrs. Mutart?
Yes.
Mrs. Viera?
Yes.
Mrs. Scayano?
Yes.
Mr. Waskis?
Yes.
Mrs. Bratton?
Abstain 4A, yes to 4B.
Mr. Catano?
Yes.
Mr. Oldmixon?
Yes.
Finance would like to move items 5 through 12 on tonight's agenda.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Ryan?
Yes.
Mrs. DeSico?
Yes.
Mrs. Mutart?
Yes.
Mrs. Viera?
Yes.
Mrs. Scayano?
Yes, but abstain on 12.
Mr. Waskis?
Yes, but abstain on 12 for myself.
Mrs. Bratton?
Yes, with an abstention to 12.
Mr. Catano?
Yes.
Mr. Oldmixon?
Yes.
Finance would finally like to move item number 13 on tonight's agenda, our budget for the year.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Ryan?
Yes.
Mrs. DeSico?
Yes.
Mrs. Mutart?
Yes.
Mrs. Viera?
Yes.
Mrs. Scayano?
Yes.
Mr. Waskis?
Yes.
Mrs. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Catano?
Yes.
Mr. Oldmixon?
Yes. Next, can somebody please move personnel?
I'd like to make the motion to move items 14 and 15.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Ryan?
Yes.
Mrs. DeSico?
Yes.
Mrs. Mutart?
Yes.
Mrs. Viera?
Yes.
Mrs. Scayano?
Yes.
Mr. Waskis?
Yes.
Mrs. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Catano?
Yes.
Mr. Oldmixon?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to accept with regret the following retirements. Kathy Sakala, teacher of Spanish at Long Valley Middle School, effective July 1st, 2026, after 25 years of service in the district. Rebecca Obel, teacher of music, Long Valley Middle School, effective July 1st, 2026, after 25 years of service in the district. Kathleen Burke, school social worker, Long Valley Middle School, effective July 1st, 2026, after 20 years of service in the district. Suzanne Hoffman, instructional aide, Old Farmers Road School, effective July 1st, 2026, after 13 years of service in the district. Colleen Delinsky, LDTC, Long Valley Middle School, effective July 1st, 2026, after 9 years of service in the district. Joseph Casper, teacher of STEAM, Long Valley Middle School, effective May 1st, 2026, after 12 years of service in the district. Margaret Treacy, bus driver, transportation, effective October 1st, 2026, after 20 years of service in the district. And Marion Burke, teacher of special education, Cuccinella School, effective July 1st, 2026, after 24 years of service in the district.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. Just collectively, there's a whole lot of years there, so just a general thank you to people who have given so much time to our district. But on a personal level, Miss Sakala in particular, just an absolute joy. Like, most kids don't overly love Spanish, unless, that's your native language, then sure, but most kids aren't very excited for it. Miss Sakala made these kids like overjoyed to learn Spanish. So, a lot of years here, so she's earned some time, but she will definitely be missed. Miss Opal as well, a lot of years there. These kids, I don't know if anyone has been to a musical performance at LVMS, incredible. She's done a wonderful job teaching these children the passion for music, and just really has gone above and beyond, I think, to instill that love of music for the kids. And then finally, one more special thank you is Miss Delinsky, who has been a little bit of a saving grace for me personally, just as a mom. She's done an incredible job, and she will definitely be missed. Brought a whole lot of professionalism paired with just the right amount of compassion for special services, so she'll be missed, so thank you.
Thanks. Any other discussion?
Yes. I want to thank Ms. Tracy for her 20 years of service in the district, the last 4 of which I've had the privilege of having her be my daughter's bus driver. I want to say thank you for all your time and attention to making our kiddos feel so safe and loved and cared for. And I was texted by about 5 of my neighbors to please mention that this comes from all of William White. So thank you, Ms. Tracy.
Any other discussion?
I just want to say overall, the enormity of talent and years of dedicated service in this group overall is absolutely astounding and a true testament to the kind of district that we are. So I just want to say thank you and good luck in your next endeavors.
Thanks. Any other discussion?
I just wanted to thank all of them for their dedication and service, not only to the district, but also to the children. And I wish them much happiness in their retirement.
Thanks. Is there any other discussion? I think everybody just said it all, so I'm not going to pile on there, but I think 5 out of 8 on here are over 20 years, so wish them the best of luck in their next endeavors. With that, we'll do a roll call.
Mrs. Ryan? Yes. Mrs. DeSico? Yes. Mrs. Mutart? Yes. Mrs. Vieira? Yes. Mrs. Guyana?
Yes.
Mr. Waskis?
Yes.
Mrs. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Catano?
Yes.
Mr. Olmixon?
Yes.
Finally, I'd like to make a motion to move items 17 through 26.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Ryan? Yes. Mrs. DeSico?
Yes.
Mrs. Mutart? Yes. Mrs. Vieira? Yes. Mrs. Guyano?
Yes.
Mr. Waskis?
Yes.
Mrs. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Catano?
Yes.
Mr. Olmixon?
Yes. Next, I'd like to make a motion to read for the second time and approve the policies under agenda item number 27.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Ryan? Yes. Mrs. DeSico?
Yes.
Mrs. Mutart? Yes. Mrs. Vieira? Yes. Mrs. Guyano?
Yes.
Mr. Waskis?
Yes.
Mrs. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Catano?
Yes.
Mr. Olmixon?
Yes. I'd like to make a motion to read for the first time the policies under agenda item number 28.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Ryan? Yes. Mrs. DeSico?
Yes.
Mrs. Mutart? Yes. Mrs. Vieira?
Yes.
Mrs. Guyano?
Yes.
Mr. Waskis?
Yes.
Mrs. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Catano?
Yes.
Mr. Olmixon?
Yes. Next, does anybody have any unfinished business? Does anybody have any new business?
I do have new business. I just wanted to take a few minutes to provide an update on the work of the Morris County Legislative Advocacy Committee. Over the past several months, our committee has been focused on bringing together board members across counties to identify key issues impacting our districts and to begin building a more coordinated and statewide advocacy effort. We've made meaningful progress, particularly in 2 areas: school funding and harassment, intimidation, and bullying reform. On the legislative side, we recently met with Senator Bucco. In attendance was myself, Rob Waskis, Jen Darling from Boonton, and James Kim from Denville. We had a very productive discussion around school funding challenges. Rob's presentation was quite helpful, and Senator Bucco enjoyed it very much. He was very familiar with the issues that the districts are facing and encouraged us to continue the work that we're doing, bringing stakeholders together, identifying specific problem areas, developing clear, actionable recommendations, and return to him all of this so he could help us in our advocacy efforts. We've also begun expanding our outreach to include superintendents, business administrators, and other counties to ensure this work reflects a broad range of perspectives across the state. One area we've seen especially strong momentum is with HIB reform. Working with former Assemblywoman Matsakudis, a draft bill was created that proposes a stakeholder-driven approach in reviewing and improving current HIB law. The goal of the bill is to bring together key voices, educators, administrators, board members, and mental health professionals to take a thoughtful, comprehensive look at what's working, what's not, and where adjustments are needed. The intent is not to weaken protections, but to strengthen the system so it better supports students while also addressing the increasing operational and financial strains on districts. I'm pleased to share that this bill has already received support from both Senator Bucco and Assemblywoman Fantasia and is currently being advanced for further consideration within the State Education Committee. Overall, the committee is gaining traction, building relationships with legislators, and starting to create real opportunities to influence meaningful change. I will continue to keep the board and the community updated as this work progresses.
Thank you. That's a great update. Appreciate it. Is there any other new business?
I just have a comment.
Yeah.
I just wanted to thank the leadership team and Superintendent Lind. Your presentation, you touched on our goals, and I don't really think you can state enough the significance of the partnership that is growing between the schools and the communication that has improved since you've really started working with everybody. So I really just want to thank the leadership team and you and your presentation, all your hard work. I hope that people understand that you live and breathe for this district and that you've done a really incredible job. So thank you very much to all of you for all of your hard work.
Thanks, Melanie. Is there any other new business? Okay. Moving on to public comment. This is a public comment on all items. Please approach the microphone, state your name, address, and you'll have 3 minutes to provide any comment. Okay. Moving on to district distinctions. I usually have time to kind of consolidate these, so I apologize if there's some overlap on these. I didn't have a chance to kind of curate some of this. I believe there's a few mentions of the trout release in here by each district. So in lieu of not, accidentally cutting things out, I'm just kind of reading the raw update here. So in curriculum news, we wrapped up our One District, One Book initiative, and once again, our students and staff made literacy genuinely fun. The family night held on April 8th was a huge success, and we're so grateful to all the families who joined in by reading with their child to make reading an activity we share together. Our elementary principals took part in a district-wide math professional development day, visiting classrooms across all 3 schools alongside our STEAM coach, Dave Jones, and Eureka Math Squared Success Lead to reflect on progress and plan next steps for year 3 of the curriculum implementation. All staff involved with state-mandated testing for grades 3 through 8 have been trained on the new NJSLA adaptive test, and we're prepared for day 1 of testing on May 4th. In special education news, on April 22nd, the Washington Township Special Education Parent Advisory Group hosted an evening event featuring nationally recognized speaker Dr. Carrie Magro. Dr. Magro delivered an inspiring presentation titled Spotlight on the Spectrum, in which he shared his personal journey growing up on the autism spectrum. Through his story, Dr. Magro spoke candidly about the challenges he faced in early childhood, including communication and social difficulties, and how the support of educators, family, and mentors played a critical role in his development. He highlighted the importance of perseverance, self-advocacy, and believing in the potential of every individual. His message emphasized that with the right supports and opportunities, students with autism can achieve meaningful success in school, career, and life. The event was well attended by families, students, and staff, reflecting on the strong sense of community and commitment to supporting all learners in Washington Township. Attendees left with a deeper understanding of lived experiences of individuals on the spectrum, as well as practical insights on how to better support students both academically and socially. We would also like to extend our sincere gratitude to the Long Valley Junior Women's Club for their generous donation, which made this event possible. This meaningful evening underscores Washington Township's ongoing dedication to fostering inclusion, awareness, and partnership with families in support of all students. At Cuccinella, 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, and 4th grade students recently graced the stage with amazing musical performances for friends and family. A major shout out goes to the Cuccinella music teacher, Mrs. Postigo, for preparing the students for these wonderful events. Cuccinella turned into an art museum on Tuesday, April 21st, for our annual Arts Rageous event. Kudos to our art teacher, Mrs. Bartnicki, for hosting and organizing. Thank you to all the PTO volunteers who helped with this preparation. As usual, the hallways were beautifully decorated with student artwork for this event. Friends and family came to view students' masterpieces and create new artwork of their own. The fun of field trip season is starting. Preschoolers enjoyed the Imagine That Museum. 4th graders explored Sterling Mines, and 5th graders will travel to Stevens State Park to release our trout later this week. Students and staff recognized and celebrated April as Autism Acceptance Month. Teachers wore autism acceptance t-shirts every Monday and raised funds to donate for charity. Cuccinella administrative professionals, Mrs. Dargle and Mrs. Varatharvren, sorry if I messed that name up, enjoyed a luncheon in celebration of Administrative Professionals Day. They provide constant support for their colleagues, students, and families. The PTO hosted another successful Harlem Wizards basketball game fundraiser. Many thanks go to everyone who worked so hard to organize this event and ensure it was a fun night. Thanks go to all the teachers who stayed and played for the home team as well. Unfortunately, the staff lost again to the Wizards, and maybe next year we'll beat them. The Flocktown Cosman School, thank you to Wolf Team 1 and our homeroom representatives who recently voted and decided on the next service learning project to benefit the community. Our students decided to raise awareness around and donations for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. We can't wait to see what they have in store next. Congratulations to Anna F. and Landon H., who won Principal for a Day. We wonder if they will make any changes like extra recess. It was a sad day, but fifth grade students traveled to Stevens State Park to say goodbye to their newest friends, the trout they have raised for the last few months. Thank you to our parent chaperones, the organizations who supported this worthwhile endeavor, our teachers, and our resident trout whisperer, Ms. McGowan. Sorry. Thanks to Dave Jones and the technology team, students were able to chart and graph data, engage in 3D design contest for the trout trophy, and learn about water chemistry and what it takes to foster healthy aquatic ecosystem. Students were able to submit daily water readings and observations and enjoyed the whole process. Finally, a thank you and sincere well done to the Westmore Central High School students who spent time with our youngest learners as they decide on a career as future educators. In Old Farmers, we celebrated all our aides and paraprofessionals in our building with a special luncheon on April 10th. Thank you to all, and a huge thank you to special areas teachers who celebrated on August 16th. Thank you to Miss English, Miss Bruno, Mrs. Resland, Mrs. Hoskins, Mr. Rocha, Mrs. Azetta, Mr. Rossau, Mr. Doshert, Mrs. Castellana, Miss Babb, and Mrs. Calderola. We successfully ran both of our kindergarten roundup days, and we are so excited to welcome our next kindergarten class at Old Farmers Road School. Earth Day was a huge success with our PTO and class parents providing planting and gardening activities for our students, games and party activities in the classroom, and a wonderful day to get outside. We're looking forward to the King of Kindness returning on the 29th and our fifth grade play on April 30th at 7 p.m. in the cafetorium, and we hope to see you all there. Lastly, Long Valley Middle School Math League contest. The accelerated math students participated in this year. At the sixth grade, at the state level, sixth grade placed 10th out of 73 schools. Ellie Tang placed 21st, and Lian Song Lin placed 32nd. At the regional level, Morris and Warren County, the sixth grade placed first, Ellie placed first, and Lian Song placed second. For seventh grade, at the state level, seventh grade placed 24th out of 63 schools. At the regional level, seventh grade placed third. At the state level, eighth grade placed 16th out of 59 schools. Brendan Tagg tied first with a perfect score. At the regional level, eighth grade placed second, and Brendan placed first. Ellie, Brandon, and Lian Song all scored high enough to be invited to the summer camp Math League hosts every year. Join us at the Long Valley Middle School PAC on Friday at 7 p.m. and Saturday at 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. for the LVMS production of The Wizard of Oz. Tickets are only available online. Check the Monday Minute to purchase tickets. Congratulations to LVMS ELA teacher Mrs. Christian and her students for their participation in the Young Writers USA Short Story Contest. Students completed a writing task titled Unsolved, in which they crafted original mystery pieces that will be published in the Unsolved Case File book. Congratulations to Orion Gavin, Jaden Ramos, Sophia Pierce, Malcolm Reap, Raya Buff, and Christian Lee on this accomplishment. And that concludes my district distinctions, so I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?